Our next guest is a talented actor you know from his work on the Captain America and Avengers movies. He returns as Bucky Barnes in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is available exclusively on Disney Plus, with new episodes releasing on Fridays. Let's take a look.
You're alone. You're 100 years old. You have no history, no family.
Are you lashing out at me, Doc? Because that's really unprofessional, you know? I mean, when did that start? When did you start yelling at your clients? Oh, the Notebook, that's great. All right, give me a break. I'm trying, okay? This is new for me. I didn't have a moment to deal with anything, you know? I had a little calm in Wakanda. And other than that, I just went from one fight to another for 90 years.
Please welcome to the show, Sebastian Stan. Thanks for being here, Sebastian.
Hey, man, thank you for having me.
I feel like there were two things we were all very desperate for over the last year, vaccines and new Marvel content, and it feels like they're dovetailing together very nicely.
Yes, perfect timing for both of us, I guess.
So I have to ask, when you and your co-star Anthony Mackie this was first presented to you, was it surprising? Did you know this project was coming?
No, we didn't. We just both knew we were going to stick around in some capacity, you know, because we were alive at the end of Endgame. But then we had both gotten called in, unbeknownst to us, you know, for a meeting, and you know, we had separate meetings. But then I ran into him at this hotel in LA, and I didn't know he was in LA, and he like looked at me funny, and I looked at him funny, and we sort of started to kind of piece the puzzle together that maybe we were there for the same reason, you know.
One of the puzzles anybody in show business has had to piece together this year is how to shoot during COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
You were in the middle of it. You were going to Prague last March.
It's very difficult with Anthony because he's a close talker. So, you know, the aspect of social distance for him is a difficult thing. But
right,
yeah, we were in Prague.
It's like a normal 6 feet, but it's like an Anthony 12 feet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So you flew to Prague. This was, I guess, last year, before everything shut down. And I will say, I tip my cap. Early on, you were taking this very serious. That's you on an airplane.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank God Fox News reported on it at the time, you know. But we did, because we didn't know what to expect. And I had my best friend with me who was a worse hypochondriac than I was. And we just kept piling things on and going, I mean, where do we stop with this thing? And, you know, it was my first picture of this hashtag we were trying out called Bucky Takes Europe, which of course led to only 3 posts and a birthday that happened a few days later. And then we were sent back.
I heard you were actually celebrating Bucky's 106th birthday when you found out that everything was shut down.
Yep. Yeah, we decided to find one of the most authentic, you know, places in Prague to go and have dinner with, and it was a crowded place. And we thought it was funny at the time. And then it led to me meeting about 35 waiters and hugging them and taking selfies with them. And then 10 minutes later, we got a call. We were supposed to get on a plane. So I felt really good about how I spent that night. More at risk than ever.
Now, I have to ask, you know, obviously you're not Bucky's age yet, but you have been playing this character for 10 years. Is it harder? Do you find the recovery harder from the intense action sequences that they put your character through?
Yes. Well, it's usually by the end of the press tour, so you get closer and closer to the age. But yeah, I mean, I think we both take quite a lot of Advil, you know, and definitely some ice packs. But you know, it's just we got to get Anthony off the ground a lot more.
It's very nice how I feel like you have a lot of empathy for Anthony. It's really sweet that you're sharing that with us today.
I do, you know, but it's sort of something you have to live with. It's like you know, it's like a disease that you're just gonna have to live with. But I think, look, you know, we kind of know each other well, and we have a good rapport, and somehow they decided to give us a show, you know, to have more. So it's been a privilege.
You came back from Prague when everything got shut down in New York City. I know that you had lived here before. You were an actor here in New York City. What was it like for you last spring being in a city that obviously we all know is much more vibrant than it was then?
Well, it was really strange. I mean, because, we didn't really know at the time what to expect. And so everything felt out of place. And, I think the emptiness of the streets, but I went full on like the Aviator DiCaprio OCD. Like I was taking my clothes off and in my hallway and running them to the washing machine and then washing every little thing in the sink. And it was really weird. But I had this old lady across the street from me who every night at 7 p.m. would come out and just blast Frank Sinatra, and then everybody else would come out and just sort of join in. And that moments like that just feel kind of that they surpass all of time.
I always like asking anybody who was young living in New York, especially actors, what their early apartments were like. Did you have any doozies back in your day?
It was I'll say exactly where it was. It was at 323 West 42nd Street, right across from Port Authority, and
great area, great area, beautiful.
Yeah, but we were in Times Square, so we felt lucky. But
how many roommates were you rocking back then?
Well, I had one official roommate that paid the rent with me, and then we had all of our Rutgers friends kind of like just hop off the bus, cross the street, and then crash with us, But it was, I don't know, everything about that was romantic at the time, or that's what we said. That's what we said to ourselves until you walked outside,
Yeah. And you would also, I'm sure, say it to girls,
Yeah.
like, you want to see something romantic? You've never seen romance till you've seen the Port Authority at night.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, that will definitely shake things up.
It's like the one neighborhood they just haven't tried giving a cute name to. Like, they're like, no. Well, we got a one-bedroom in Porthor.
Yeah, it's always, what it is. But in a way, there was something grounding about it. And it's like you walk out in New York City, you always just, life greets you and it kind of, puts you reminds you of the right things, I guess.
I think you're right about that. And congrats on the show. It's so exciting to watch. And thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, man. Absolutely. Thanks so much. I'll see you.
New episodes of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier are available on Fridays exclusively on Disney+.